Hey guys, it's Frog Slicer. We got a game here I really want to talk about. I don't even actually want to talk about the game or the match. I just want to talk about this turn. This is a really interesting turn. We have Tristan on Frog FTK. It's a more, I guess, more pure in quotes version of my deck. And then we have Ricky on Diva Hero Beat. So who knows what kind of back row he has. I'm going to tell you guys right now, nothing that can stop OTKing here, right? So I really like this turn because I was watching this replay and Tristan did something I never thought of. And normally when I see something with this deck that I've never thought of, it's bad. But in this case, I really liked it. But I really want to review it because I want to say what I would have done in this situation. So a lot of the times when you're playing this combo deck, you are basically ignoring their back row. When they have 3 back row, it's pretty scary to ignore it. But here you can see that you could have. So it's like these cards may be live in a lot of situations, but not against like a hand like this and a deck like this. So that's pretty cool. So we're going to ignore this back row. But you can't ignore it for something like a Colossal Armory Arm. So it makes it pretty scary to say, oh, can I Colossal Armory Arm here? Because if you had gone for it, you just flat out lose. So there's that. So the play I would have made here, notably, is only possible because Tristan is on 2 Death Frogs. But I think I would have just made a Mistworm. I would have bounced the back row, and hopefully that's not anything real. Because if it is, then it kills the play. But yeah, if he doesn't have a response to making a Mistworm, then you turn the Mistworm into a Colossal Fighter, and then you make an Armory Arm, and Colossal Fighter Armory Arm into Stardust. And that's only possible because your opponent has 1 hero in their grave. One warrior. So the Colossal Fighter would be at 29. This board was built because the only thing Tristan did on his turn is he set a Dupe Frog, and it got Phoenix Winged to the top. And then he got smacked for 6k, and then has back row to protect this play. So that's what Tristan's situation. So he hasn't done anything to set up. He had a passive turn. His hand was weak enough that he had to do a passive turn. And then he used Moray of Greed to get this situation. So the only thing that Moray of Greed got him was Foolish Burial. So exactly what he does is what I would do here. And that's just Foolish for the Fishborg, because you have the Dandelion, so this Fishborg is a +2 or whatever. You're going to get a bunch of dudes on the board. So you have Subtoad with Fishborg, and you're going to have 4 guys in play. So the interesting thing about the way I handle these situations is when I don't know what to do, I usually just start drawing through my deck. If any of these back row are real, they're going to do it. They're going to stop your Subtoad. So it doesn't really matter which direction you take it, because if they can do something, this is the point they do it, is right when you start doing stuff with Substitute. So because I'm just ignoring their back row, usually what I'll do is I'll draw through my deck as hard as I can, and then I'll get as much card advantage as I can. And once I've run out of gas, that's when I make my big play. So even from this situation, without taking the risk of not drawing a Pot of Avarice and not drawing an Exodius, you are able to OTK. And that's what I thought was so interesting about this turn. Where my default plan of, well, I'm going to ignore their back row, hope this works out. Maybe I'll draw a Heavy Storm, and then I'll be safer, all that kind of stuff. It's almost more reliable to just make the Mistworm play I was talking about here. So from here, yeah, you would make a Death Frog, a Beazel Frog, and you'd get you'd use your Fishborg to make a Mistworm, clear the back row, and then you'd kill off the Mistworm to make another Death Frog, get a level 2 from your deck, and make a Colossal Fighter. And then unless he has 2 Beazel Frogs, which he probably doesn't, if you had 2, then you don't need the salvage. But if you only have 1 Beazel Frog in your deck, then you need the salvage to use a Treeborn Frog and a level 2 with Fishborg to make the Armory Arm, to Colossal Armory Arm into Stardust. But here what Tristan does is really interesting. And I actually watched this replay twice because I was trying to decide how much I like this play. And one thing I don't like about it, I guess we'll see once we get there, but so here he's just doing stuff. So he's clearly dedicated to not emptying his entire deck of frogs, which is correct sometimes, especially if you're going to be grinding things out. But yeah, he just wanted to get his Treeborn in, and he didn't want to send it straight to the graveyard, so that's cool. No big deal. And he just wanted to make a Brionic. So his goal is to get rid of the Stardust. Great plan. You don't know what the back row is. And now, just sitting on a Brio, you can just swing over their stuff if that's the direction you want to go. I wouldn't recommend it, especially with what they could have, But here he's thinking for a little bit. And yeah, once you get to this point, it's really hard. And that's something I actually wanted to mention here is he didn't have his entire opponent's turn to figure this play out. He had to wait until he maraid, so he had to come up with all this stuff on the fly, because you don't know, half your hand is going to be different once your turn starts, even though you got Phoenix Winged. So here he does something a little different than I would have. I probably just would have used the Swap Frog to be the discard outlet for the Fishborg, but he just used the Subside right away. Or sorry, the Swap Frog, the Salvage right away. No big deal. But yeah, he wants to save the Swap Frog, and I probably would have been throwing it away and saving the Salvage for a situation that could have changed. So this is the interesting thing. So Brio, I've always known Brio could be an extender into another Synchro. But he decides, so what he does is he makes a Brio using only 2 cards to get rid of Stardust and to set up a Black Rose. Pretty cool. But also, yeah, like if you have extra cards, then this could be a Dupe Frog or this could be a Poison Draw Frog, and you're kind of like replenishing. So you're wiping the board, but you're getting a return value on your Poison Draw. So if he had a full stack of card advantage and he still wanted to wipe his board, he could end his hand. His hand could be full of cards right now. It could be Poison, Poison, Dupe, Dupe, or something, you know? So I thought that was really interesting. So my problem with this play is when you're playing against Gemini Beat, which I guess he has no evidence that this isn't just Diva Hero, they run 2 or 3 Starlight Roads, and this is just plain riskier. If they have a Starlight Road, like, this is a losing play because they'll just win next turn. But yeah, I don't know. I really like this Black Rose play. And again, like, he set up his hand. Like, he knew he wanted this flip-flop. He knew he wanted to save a Subside for next turn, and he wanted a Swap Frog to do stuff later in the game. So where I probably would have just saved the Salvage and ultimately have gotten these 2 cards back, he just proactively did it. So this was cool. And yeah, now we're both top decking. And he has, you know, stun, so he can put his flip-flop Frog. So any sort of normal summon or even really big aggressive push, the only thing this guy could draw would be, I mean, I think he knew this is an alias, but it would have been like Evil Guy Caius, right? So like, this is safe. This feels good. So yeah, that's the turn. He makes the flip-flop and sets it. He ends up grinding out this game. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. But you see very later that, I guess while I'm talking, we can just fast forward it. But you'll see later that Ricky draws a Starlight Road. So he has the road. So that play could have really bit Tristan in the ass. And yeah, so I guess the thing I really wanted to say about this is if Tristan were at 1800 life, I think this may have just been the perfect play. But because he was over 1800 life, I think my Colossal Fighter Army Arm play would have been safer, using Mistworm to clear the back row. Potentially, what I would have done would have also probably been the safest, which is draw through my entire deck until I had heavier Trunade, clear that, and then do Colossal Fighter Army Arm. Then you can modulate it. You can perfectly make your monster the right attack with the 3 different targets, you know, 1700 attack, 1800 attack, or 2900 attack. Or sorry, 25. There's different ways it could have gone. But assuming you don't want to dig through your deck and risk not drawing Exodius or Pot of Avarice, this is a play, and my Mistworm play is the other play. So if his life were a little bit lower, I think this really interesting Black Rose bomb was the correct play. So I just want to say, good thinking, Tristan. I never thought of that. I'll see if a situation like this comes up for me. But yeah, that's it for me. So we're not doing an entire game replay, but we did a turn replay. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys next time.